Well, I was passed details as a study by someone I'd previously worked in with research into how women make decisions about meds and pregnancy, and looking at that made me think about how difficult it is to find good information on sexual health and mental health. I have a particular interest in public health. I did a master's in that, as well as being a service user myself, and I've been amazed at firstly, how little information is out there at all, even when I dig through the research literature, and secondly, how difficult it is to find clinicians who will talk about this sort of thing. I mean, just finding someone who could prescribe me contraception and knew how that worked with my psych meds was a real mission. And so I want to make things better for other people, because for me the most important part of my recovery has been my relationship with my partner. We got married last year, and I think for most people, whether they have mental health problems or not, then relationships are the most important part of their lives, the thing which brings them hopefully most happiness. And that's something which isn't really addressed in mental health services, because people get squeamish, have some very old-fashioned attitudes, have this weird idea that people with mental health problems somehow don't have sex. We do, I promise. And it's nonsense, because if you want to think about recovery, and if you want to think about making people's lives better and helping people to have the full range of experiences that everyone else gets in their lives, you've got to talk about things like relationships and sexual health.
Okay, thank you for that. And so you've obviously mentioned some of the barriers around talking about sexual health in mental health, and that might be from the staff point of view, but also maybe service users maybe feeling a bit embarrassed. What would you say to service users who are thinking about taking part in our study? What would you advise them to think about in terms of taking part?
Honestly, I think if I was thinking about taking part, what I would be most worried about is how my CPN, or the person I was talking to about it, what they might think if I say, well, actually I want to talk to someone about how my mental health and my medications and so on affects my relationships and my sexuality, and I want to have a chance to think about that and to talk about that and to learn more about that. And I'd be a bit worried, to be honest, about how my support workers might react to that, because, as I said, there's a lot of odd attitudes that people suddenly get very alarmed when you start talking about how people with mental health problems having sex, and this is ridiculous. We're adults, we're living in a community, we do all the other things other people do.
Yeah. Okay. So there's something about that. So obviously, we've got the self-referral route, so that's something people don't necessarily have to talk directly to their care coordinator or their CPN about taking part in the study. So I think that's probably worth us flagging up at this stage, that people can, if they want, self-refer directly to the research team through our website and have that confidential discussion first of all. So we've put that in for that particular reason. Not everyone wants to go, oh yes, I'd like to talk about it. In terms, I mean, obviously you've been part of looking at what the content of the intervention is, and do you just want to say a little bit about your views on the intervention itself, and what you think it might be like to take part, if you've got any ideas about that?
So there's a lot of important and useful information there, and you might think you know it all already. You've been in lots of relationships, who needs this stuff? But I think it's something that everyone, whether they have a mental health problem or not, could do with having some time to talk about and to think about. There's lots of information on things which can help your relationships, things like how to talk to your partner, discussing your mental health problem with new partners, and things which are specific to mental health as well, like some of the effects of discussing some of the effects of medication, because we know that a big reason that people who have mental health problems stop taking their medication is because it can affect your sex life, and people don't talk about this. Psychiatrists, CPNs, key workers and so on are just too embarrassed to talk about this really important thing, which is key to people being able to feel comfortable with their medication and comfortable with their lives, and also key to a big part of people's lives and what makes them feel good about themselves.
And I just want to ask you one more question, really. And I know some people have been concerned about the fact that just asking people about an embarrassing topic might destabilise their mental health. So I just wondered what you thought about that worry that staff might feel.
Honestly, I think it's more important to make sure that your service users know that they can talk to you about sex and relationships, and know that they can feel confident to bring up problems with their workers about it. And that if you're too scared to talk about it, how's your service user going to feel if they're saying, well, if they want to talk to you about, well, maybe my medication's meaning I don't enjoy sex so much, or I'm not comfortable with my relationship with my partner, they're doing things which make me feel unhappy, how can I talk about it? And that it's, even if you ask a question and someone isn't interested, or they don't want to talk to you about it right now, you've at least said that this is a thing that it's okay to talk to me about, and maybe it might help them bring it up in the future.